What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I'm obviously in a different location. I flew to Indiana for the holidays a few days ago. I've still been working. I've got my mobile setup here. I have a really powerful laptop so I can still test things. I've been working really hard on the damage profiles. So today we're going to talk about all the different damage modifying attachments for the Bren and the Type 100, as well as just generally whether or not these attachments are even working for all the guns in Warzone. Because obviously, pretty much all the Vanguard guns have, various attachments that change the damage values. So yeah, today we're just gonna go over all of that. There's so many different attachments that modify damage. This first barrel increases damage. The second barrel makes it so there's no damage drop off over range. Third barrel does the same. Fourth barrel doesn't have any damage values. And there's hollow point. There's different magazines. There's just so many different attachments that modify damage on the Vanguard guns. So I've tested most of them at this point to the point where I at least know whether or not they're functioning and how they function. And we're gonna go over all that in this video. But as always, if you like the content, consider dropping a sub, like, and comment on the video. Thank you guys so much for 200,000 subscribers. That's an insane goal. I literally hit 200,000 on the dot as I landed in my plane coming home for the holidays. So that was awesome. But thank you guys so much. Let's get into it and we'll talk about these damage profile attachments. All right, so before we get into this completely, I need to explain how damage values are actually calculated in Warzone. Basically, how I had it programmed on the site before was I just put in static values because we only ever had one attachment at a time that modified the damage values of a weapon. But now that there's multiple attachments that you can stack, like hollow point, 50 cal mags, a different barrel that all can affect damage on the Vanguard guns, I had to go in and I had to reprogram the site to work differently than that. So basically how it actually works is there will be a base damage value for a gun. So for example, let's start with the Bren. I have no way of knowing what this base damage value is. Sometimes it's different than every damage value that the gun actually has. But how it works is they set that base damage value and then every single shot location has a multiplier. So for example, the Bren does 51 to the head in the first damage range. So the location multiplier for the headshot is 1.38. It's 1.38 times that 37 of the base damage. Again, I don't know what that base damage is, but I can just pick a number and get the multipliers off of that. And then pretty much that's how it works for everything. So drop-off multipliers, damage drop-offs are multipliers as well. So for that second damage drop-off here, if you multiply every single one of these shot locations by 0.88, you're going to get these values here. And that's how they generate these damage profiles. So basically, there's a bunch of location multipliers. The ones that I'm aware of would be head, neck, chest, stomach, upper leg, upper arm, lower arm. I think those are by far the most common. There might be more. I don't know for sure. But anyway, I just wanted to explain how that actually works. And basically, if you stack multiple attachments, those multipliers just multiply together. So say I have an attachment, like this first barrel makes the headshot do 69 damage. Whatever multiplier that is, say that's like a 1.2 multiplier. It's going to be 1.2 times the drop-off times the base value to get that second damage drop-off headshot. So basically, they just multiply together. So no matter how many attachments you stack, all you do is multiply all those attachment multipliers together, and you get the final value. So that's basically what I did here. This is going to be mostly just me talking. I don't have the fire rate modifications yet. If they're the same as Vanguard, then they should be on the site. I've already uploaded most of the Vanguard attachment stats, but I want to test those for sure to make sure they're exactly the same in Warzone, but you can see that these things all affect the guns pretty significantly. So the first barrel here increases the headshot damage by 18 and the extremities damage by 12. Something I did want to note before I actually get into all this actually is the upper arm damage is the same as chest. That's something unique with the Bren. Not very many guns have that. Basically what that does is give you a much bigger chest hitbox. It extends that chest hitbox down the upper arm, basically to like shoulder length. So that's one of the reasons why the Bren feels so good probably, but I've gone through, I've tested every single damage modifying attachment for the Bren and the Type 100, and that's what we're going to go over in this video. The 50 cal mag does 7 damage to the head and neck extra and 5 damage everywhere else extra. Again, these are multipliers, so the problem with multipliers is I don't know exactly what the decimal value is that they put in the game for those multipliers, so I'll never be able to get this perfect unless I literally test every combination of attachments, which I'm just not going to do. So the resulting values are going to come out plus or minus 1 damage pretty much at the end if you stack 3 damage changing attachments. If you do just 1, it'll be perfect. If you do 2, it'll be sometimes off by 1 damage. If you do 3 attachments that modify damage, sometimes it'll be off by 1 as well. It should never be more than 1 damage though, so it's going to be really accurate. It's not really going to change anything. It's never going to be perfect though, unless I literally, like I said, test every single combination of attachments. So that's not a feasible thing to do in any sense. So I'm just not going to do that, but I'll get very, very close and make sure that the TTKs are all correct. So hollow point does exactly what it says. It only affects upper and lower limb. So upper leg gets increased by 3 damage in both the first and second drop off. Lower leg only gets 1 extra damage in the first and second drop off. Upper arm gets 4 extra on the upper and 3 extra in the second drop off, and then lower arm is just 1 and 1 as well. And then if you combine all these, you can get some crazy, crazy damage values with these guns. So you can get up to 79 headshot damage with the first barrel, 50 cal ammo, and hollow point. And then even upper arm does 27. So your upper arm becomes very close to the same as like a neck shot. It's like in between a neck shot and a chest shot. Actually does more damage than a chest shot because it's just a straight up multiplier. So hollow point increases that multiplier on upper arm, which already had the chest shot multiplier before that. So it gets even more. I think there's going to be some absolutely busted builds out there because of this stuff. What you need to understand is that this is going to have terrible, terrible recoil. So really something like this might only be viable in like an SMG Bren situation. So I think there's going to be, because we have 10 attachments, we might be able to make these crazy OP builds for certain specific playstyles. Like you can't use, there's no chance you could use this Bren for long range just because it would have way too much recoil. But if you could do something wacky with sprint to fire attachments and movement attachments and make this super high recoil insta kill Bren for like SMG use, I don't know. I just think there's going to be some fun things out there that might not be fun for so long once the community discovers them. But once I get all the data out there, you guys are going to see all this. All right, so I'm really pressed for time to get this video out today, but I wanted to get the information out to you guys, so I'm not going to go over all of this. You can just pause the video and look at these if you're interested. These are the Type 100 damage values for all the different attachments. Again, just go into the Vanguard section of the website and use the RPM value there based on these attachments, because these also modify fire rate, so you can't just straight up calculate the TTKs. But so basically, barrel 4, barrel 5, mag 2, mag 3 on the Type 100. They all modify damage and damage range. So I've got the damage values. Basically, this does not have upper and lower arm and upper and lower leg multipliers. It just has a straight up extremities multiplier. Like most guns, the Bren is kind of an exception to that. There's a few guns that are like that. It goes head, neck, chest, stomach, extremities in order for all of these. And then obviously we have the drop off listed afterwards for range 1 and range 2. And I think the Type 100 is a really, really good gun. It's super accurate, and it also has better TTKs than the Sten. But it's Sten and the Type 100 are the only 2 SMGs that have Gung Ho, which is a ridiculously overpowered perk. Best perk in the game, gives you 0 sprint to fire time. Best perk in the game for SMG use, I should say. Anytime you're pushing buildings and things like that. No longer do you need to jump around corners to start that sprint to fire timer. No longer will you be surprised and not be able to fire. With Gung Ho, you can shoot instantaneously. And the Type 100 and the Sten are the only 2 guns that have that. So I'm working on leveling the Type 100 right now because I can see that being really good. Unfortunately, it doesn't have that hipfire barrel. The Sten with the combination of hipfire barrel and Gung Ho makes it pretty crazy because you can only really hipfire out of Gung Ho, but you can start ADSing at the same time. So really, even without really good hipfire, it's still a crazy good perk. So like I said, I'm leveling the Type 100. I think it's going to be one of the best SMGs here pretty soon. But these are the damage values. You can just pause that and ponder them over if you want. That's all I wanted to cover in this video, though. I just wanted to show you guys these values and how they're calculated, and to let you all know that every single damage modifying attachment I've tested works exactly like it says it works. So I didn't talk about it, but the Bren barrels that say they reduce or remove the second damage drop off, they do that. There is no damage drop off when you use those barrels in the Bren. Bottom line, the attachments are doing what they say they do. It's just going to take me some time to actually get all the multipliers and get this all programmed onto the website. So bear with me for that. I'll get you guys as much information as I can in the videos in the meantime. But thank you so much for watching, and have a fantastic day and happy holidays.